Ba ba do 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 skip do 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 da do 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 ba ba do ba do boo do 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 do. Hey, where's the thing? Hey, everybody. How we all doing there, internet? Welcome, fans. How you doing? So this is Smirky Live, and we are joined by special guests today. And first of all, my apologies. It's been a long time since I did one of these. I have been like beyond stupid, silly, busy. But we have Gaeton and we have Nicole joining us. Of course, Nicole, the designer of Boom Patrol, which we're going to talk quite a lot about today. Yeah, so how is everyone doing?
Doing good. I'm just, we're living in that tornado that is the pre-GenCon prep week.
Oh, dear God, it is.
So.
We're all like,
Oh, my goodness.
Contrary to a popular opinion, it happens to not always all just be fun in games. There's some prep work beforehand, too.
Yep.
Gaeton, what does your shirt say?
Oh, so it's actually my local game store, Nutmeg Games. It's out here in Connecticut. It's
so
where
cute.
we actually test a bunch of our games or prototypes and things like that. We go on out and play there. So
I love it.
Yes, I designed the logo.
He did do that. And I built the floor plan for the store. So we've done our part. So.
All right. Hey, well, listen, if you're starting to filter in and join us, feel free to like jump in, say hi, leave comments. We'd love to chat with you. So yeah, Gaeton, a lot of folks who may not have seen Gaeton at some of the most recent shows, and since I haven't really been broadcasting it a bit, I should make an official introduction and hello to Gaeton, because Gaeton, after 21 years, is Smirk and Dagger's first employee. So welcome, Gaeton.
Congrats.
Yeah, so yeah. It's been like a year now, right, Gaeton?
Yeah, so last I pretty much came on right before last GenCon, because I remember, we were still trying to figure out exactly, how I'm going to land in what I'm going to work on with the company, and you were like, you could come to GenCon. It's in like 2 days, and I was like, I don't know about all that. That's a little bit quick. So, yeah, almost about a year ago. So this GenCon's actually going to be my first GenCon ever. Not just with Smirk and Dagger, but my first ever GenCon. So
what?
I am excited and mortified. So
I will say nothing negative about GenCon.
Well, that's fine, because I've got plenty of positive to say. Because I'm one of those insane people who just loves the crazy energy and everything else about it. I thrive. So. Oh my goodness!
I usually love Gen Con, but it's been like all my friends are like, "Oh, I hate Gen Con," and now for whatever reason this year I have I've caught that. I've caught the disease.
Oh no! Yeah. Well, it looks like hey, Will, we got people coming in. Jondy's here. Eric here.
Rules.
Oh my goodness! Amanda. Hey everyone, how we doing? So yeah, so we're just kind of kicking things off. Nicole, I know you just came back. Like I would have loved to have done this far earlier, but you've not even been around for like a week, 2 weeks. How long?
We left for our road trip on July 4th and we got back on the 21st. So I've been home for like 48 hours.
That's crazy. Well, I'm glad you could make it. So tell us about the trip. Where did you go?
Sure. So it was my first road trip ever, unless you count the time that I was 10 and we drove to Alabama with my grandparents, which I don't count because they weren't like, let's stop and see anything cool. They were like, get to Alabama. And I was like, okay. But it was awesome. We drove out. We kind of went like we drove out to Arizona from upstate New York, and we kind of went like quickly. The first we drove every day for 4 days, and then we spent a week in Arizona with my fiance Josh's family, and then on the way back we sort of meandered. So we did the Petrified Forest, which was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. We went to Meow Wolf in Santa Fe. We stopped to check out Pops in Oklahoma City. We went to the City Museum in St. Louis and also the Gateway Arch. We took the tram to the top of the arch, which was probably one of the strangest things I've ever done. And
that's a weird elevator going up. It's like a curved elevator.
It's like a little pod that 5 people sit in, and then it's like Willy Wonka like turns as you're going up. And I was like, are we gonna make it?
Yeah, I think that would give me the heebie-jeebies in every way possible.
I'm not claustrophobic and I'm not afraid of heights, and this tested both of those.
Wow. Now wait, is City Museum? Looks like Amy's been to City Museum as well. That's not the one.
Yeah,
that's not the one at the arch, right? Because there's the gateway to the West Museum. You're not talking about that one.
No, the City Museum is like a fever dream. It's like an art installation fever dream. It's like everything is climbable. So it's like we walked in and it's like a bunch of cool like giant fish sculptures, and you're like checking out, you're like, that's wild. And then like a child slides out of the mouth of the fish and you're like, what? And then you look up and there's a bunch of like metal grates on the ceiling and there's just children crawling across the metal, and you're just like, what is happening? And like I was like, oh, I'm gonna climb that. And then I was like, I'm too big to climb that. But it was like very cool. Everything was very interactive. And then there was also like lots of fish. Like they had the fish that eats the dead skin off of you.
Yeah.
And I stuck my hand in and I was like, yeah. And then Josh stuck his hand in for 1 second. It was like, nope. Like it's so tickle. It tickles so much.
I'm sure it's not for everyone.
It's definitely not for everyone. It was me and a bunch of children. And we were all like, yeah. And then there's a slide that goes, there's a 10-story slide. So you can go all the way to the top and then slide all the way down the museum, which I thought I didn't do it. I think it was closed, actually. You could go from like the 5th story. And I was like, I'm also okay with that. I don't
really? You didn't do the 5-story one?
I didn't. I did a giant slide on the roof, and that was pretty cool. Josh was like, I didn't think you were going to do it. And I was like, I almost did it because it was very hard to climb into.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was very cool. On I think it's like the 3rd or 4th floor, they have a bus that they have like bolted to the roof, but the front of the bus is hanging off the building. So you can like climb into the bus and sit in the seat and like open the door and you're like hanging off the building.
Wow.
It's very cool.
I had no idea about this museum. And so I don't know when it was open, but I'm very upset if I missed it last time I was through.
I think the 90s. I think it was.
Okay.
Josh did like a deep dive. Josh did like a hyperfixation deep dive on it. Was like reading me like random pieces of it. So I think it was built in the 90s. The same artist also made Turtle Park, I think it's called, which is also in St. Louis. And then he died under very mysterious circumstances, and we also did a deep dive on that because I was like, I bet there's a podcast, a true crime podcast about this man's death, but we didn't go that far. But yeah, everything about it was very interesting. It was a wild experience. And then we came out and went to the Arch, which was very mild and orderly, and you have to like go through like airport level security to get in. And like
they don't have the 30-foot slide down the arch.
They don't have unfortunately.
Next year. Yeah. Very cool. And let's see. So now, and before we leave Gaeton's employ, by the way, like the fact that he's wearing the Nutmeg shirt, like, so you were the general manager at Nutmeg when we first met, and quite honestly, a lot of the testing on Boom Patrol we were doing over at the store, and it was just when Gaeton was about to like head out, that we ended up like connecting and said, you know what, I could actually use someone. And the owner's like, oh, you should definitely talk to Gaeton because he's amazing. And by the way, you know, he's outgrown the place. You know, he's leaving today, so you should talk to him.
I guess I first met Curt even earlier than that, just playtesting some board games a while ago.
Way back.
And then way back. And then Yeah, it was interesting. I literally left a job, and during the going away party at the job, someone was like, "You look like you could use a job." And then it's like, "Oh,
Is
yeah,
that a look?
I'm gonna take a me vacation, but we'll reconvene in a few weeks." And that's
Right.
just what I
After
did, yeah.
Gen Con, right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it
So
was great.
I see we got some comments out here. Oh, Amanda. Okay. Amanda wants to know if there's any word on Cutthroat Caverns coming back and the release date for that. Okay, so this is a question I've been getting quite a bit. And the answer is I am having a rough time fitting it in.
Mhm.
That is the biggest problem. So here's the thing. You would think, I would, after 20 years and having gotten busier and busier and like crushed by work, that I would have said, "Oh, Gaeton's here. Oh, take a breath, because now I can manage more things, and everything's take just a little break." No, because what we discovered was together we can do twice as much, and so
Curt, no.
so we actually doubled our production schedule. So, by the way, when we get to like Gen Con and what's happening at Gen Con,
Oh man,
it blows my mind. We have literally 11 pallets of games coming to Gen Con, and a lot of them are brand new things coming out, launching like 5 new games this year. It's stupid, and I don't know how we did it, but we did it. But the point being, with more and more games being produced, and I can't keep like Boop and Night Cage in stock, so all the cash that I have goes into everything else. And then I look and I was like, well, I haven't done Cutthroat Caverns again. Damn it! And so I'm find myself right in the same place now. The plan had been launch it this fall, and the odds of that are pretty low at this point. But I think it will go on press this fall, and so that we will have it for next spring. And by the way, the plan when we do is to actually do like a best of the Cutthroats Compendium. So it's going to be the anniversary edition of the game, just like with all the bells and whistles we had when we did the anniversary. But we're just going to add all the coolest creatures from every expansion. There won't be any more expansions. They're just going to be new mega. So I think that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah, if you were going to have a one-stop shop for Cutthroat Caverns, we're hoping this is what it is. It's a bit of the best of everything.
Oh, that's so nice. So Amanda says her husband just got back from a deployment and hasn't stopped talking about Cutthroat. Oh, that's really cool. That's great. I love that it's still being played out there. Very cool. I wonder where are they deployed currently? Well, I don't know. Is that secret? Maybe you can't talk about that. All right, we got Bill's out there.
Bill's comment is hilarious. Sounds rad, but also like a collection of phobias. Children eaten by fish, check. Bus hanging off roof, check.
Yeah, the bus hanging off a roof. That's like a Spider-Man moment. Like, I think I would also be a little bit nervous. Like, is this thing really secure on here?
I did not want to go in it, and then I was like, oh, why not? What better way to die? And then I was like, oh, actually, we're good. Everything. It's bolted. We're safe.
I don't know, though. You have a lot of trust.
Questionable, to say the least.
I didn't see the bolts go in, so I'm not going in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. All right. Well, so what have people been playing? In fact, by the way, this question goes out to all you in the audience as well. What are the games you've been playing that you've been impressed with? So, Nicole, do you have any you've been dabbling with?
So my fiance Josh and I are both we love Slay the Spire, the video game, and we've both been burned by board game adaptations of video games. So when the Slay the Spire board game went on Kickstarter, we were like, no, we'll wait, and then we started hearing reviews, really glowing reviews, and then we finally played it in Arizona, and oh my God, it is incredible. incredible. I mean, the
Really?
fidelity, the fidelity to the gameplay loop of the video game is incredible. And also, they like meticulously went through every card and like adjusted them for tabletop play. So like there's a bunch of situations where I'm like, I'd have a card and I'd be like, oh, how is this going to work in tabletop? I'm like, oh, they actually, this is perfect. This is, and like the way the fighting is set up, the boss fights are so hard, but so satisfying. Like,
so I love the video game. I've played Slay the Spire hundreds of hours probably, and I've heard great things about the board game. I don't know if this is true, and maybe somebody in chat can fact check this, but I've heard a funny story from, I think it was somebody else at like one of the conventions we went to, Curt, but they said that I guess the creators of Slay the Spire were pitched making the board game of it, and they were like, yeah, all right, like sure. And then the designer was like, no, but here's what I got. And they kind of sat there and they were like, this is actually pretty freaking good. Like,
yeah.
So they went for it after all. But I remember them being like, how can you make a board game for this kind of thing? And turns out the designers just nailed it. So it seems like
believe it. I mean, Josh has played 1,100 hours of Slay the Spire. I've played maybe 100. He makes fun of me. He's like, those are rookie hours. So
I get that.
That's a hell ton of hours.
1,100 hours.
Yeah, I wish I could say that like my games hours history was less troubling than his, but yeah, no, mine looks pretty similar.
I feel like that's my work life.
Yeah. If running the company was a game on Steam, boy, you would be killing it on the leaderboard.
I'd be like the leaderboard. Yeah.
Tabletop Company Simulator. It's just a picture of Curt.
Yeah.
And yes, Chris, I love me a July into August winter hat. It's a fashion statement, and I stand by it. So there we go.
I tried to get him to put the headphones on the cat ears, but
yeah.
It's so good.
He'd like this, but then I can't hear too well, so that's gonna be kind of a problem.
I think the it's also just impressive because it's true. I don't remember the last time I've seen you wear a hat in general, let alone in July.
Yeah, so. I'm not necessarily a hat guy, truly, but so all right, I just have like I actually pulled my games aside just so I can like do like pretty things. Like we just played.
I was going to talk about this.
We just played Harmonies, and Gaeton was with me when we cracked the seal on this. So,
I want to play more of it.
Yeah,
that game seems so fun.
Libelud Games and Johan Benvenuto. I was so impressed with this cute little game. You're just like, you've got all these little cards. You're trying to create habitats for animals. And once you create them, you get to populate your board. And it's like sweet and charming. And
I just wrote it down because it looks gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And it's cozy. It's nice.
We broke it open. We were like 2 turns in. And I was like, I got to go buy this. Like, I was like, I need my own copy of this. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, we also played. Listen, I don't play cheap games, I guess, anymore. We also played Moonrakers finally when we went to Rochester and visited Millennium Games, and we were like, oh, we really want to try this game. And our friend that we were with was like, oh, I actually also really want to try it. I'll just buy it. And we opened it, and we were like, oh no, it's so good. Really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost get a little bit disappointed when I find a good board game again. I'm just like, oh man, I gotta find a place for this now. I gotta find
if you want the like all-in platinum version, it's like $200, and I'm like, why wouldn't I want that after I've played it and it's so good?
How dare you imply I wouldn't buy the platinum edition of the game?
Challenge accepted.
Eric says he's been playing lots of the Night Cage, getting ready for the expansion, which I mean. That's nice, but Night Cage. We're talking about other people's games right now.
So it's not new, but I've found myself playing a couple different rounds of Flamecraft recently. And I've been really liking Flamecraft.
I love Flamecraft.
It's been great. It's
so
just the
cozy
right
and
amount of
sweet.
cute, and it's got decent ways to play. And I've been trying to get Dubious onto the table with a group. I just have yet to get to light the beacons, bring all the nerds over. But it seems like just like my kind of game. It's you basically, if you remember those little like logic puzzles you used to do like in school, it's like Timmy sits next to Sally. Sally doesn't want to share a table with John, and you have to like figure out like where everyone is.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like that, but
Yes.
with players' identities, using kind of Dixit style scoring.
What's
Where
it
like
called?
Dubious.
Dubious.
And you want most of the people to figure out who you are, but you don't want everybody. So
Yeah.
so figuring out
That
how you're
sounds
going to clue
awesome.
into your identity. Yeah. So I loved those kind of puzzles. So that game, that sounds right. So.
Yeah. Oh, Return to Dark Tower, Eric says now. Yeah. You know what? I have not tried that yet. Is it
so
good? Yeah.
It's so obnoxiously good. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna have to. Maybe I'll. I mean, is it possible to still pick up? Is it like
when the tower's like, whir, you're like, no, spits out a bunch of skulls. You're like, why? What did I do to you?
Bill says, my city with 5 open legacy games with different groups in 5 different games. It was awesome to play 30-minute legacy episodes and actually complete one.
Whoa.
That
that is
like an undertaking.
That's like the platinum trophy, for playing board games, is actually completing something that's legacy and not leaving it halfway done, so.
Yeah, that's my secret cap. I never finish legacy games.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I'm throwing out like this.
Yep.
That also looks cute.
I super dig this game. It is a card game, like a sequencing game, where you're like, you place cards like trying to like plan them going one way, and then at the end it all scores backwards, and it has to like the engine has to build backwards, or it.
They're all so cute.
Great. I just love
we started playing because it's often just the two of us when we are home, which isn't often because we travel a lot. I bought Splendor Duel and then promptly lost it, so I bought another copy of it because I was like, I'm tired of looking for my board game room is not unpacked. Like there's board games everywhere. I was like, this game's like what, $25? They deserve more money. I'll do it.
and it's
we
so
sort of
good.
Cracked it open. It's so good. But we played Snakes of Wrath. Have you played that one?
Snakes of Wrath, no.
Snakes of Wrath. It's like a dominoes game where you're like one player is the red snake, one player is the blue snake, and you're trying to like close your snakes. So it's the snake closing part is similar to like when you're playing Carcassonne and somebody takes farmland and you're just desperately trying to get in on their farmland, but it's like, it's so beautiful. And the pieces are like dominoes. They're that like so tactile.
Nice tactile, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's cool. All right. Well, shall we jump in and get into our main event?
Well, it is why I gathered us all here today.
That is. Thank you, Gaeton. Thank you for being a gem. All right.
And my axe.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Well, let's kick it off in style then, shall we?
Sounds
Here we
good.
go. Dun, dun, dun. Hit it. Anyway, all right. So yes, Boom Patrol. If you are not aware, and I'm sure everyone watching is plenty aware, yes, we are currently on Kickstarter with Boom Patrol, which is just it's a delightful, super fun game. So Nicole and Anthony created this game, which I saw. How long ago was it actually?
It's old to me, which means it's much older than that, at least.
Yeah, it was at Metatopia.
It was at Metatopia. That's right.
I mean, I could search in my inbox for like when we signed the contract. I do want to say maybe 2019. Yeah, so 5 years ago might be. Yeah. That sounds accurate.
Yeah. So, because I know that when we started everything, that, you know, we were doing some development, and we were kind of getting things rolling, and then there was Ukraine, there was COVID, there was like, you know, all kinds of things that really slowed stuff down.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, I really felt at the time, like, you know, when the news reports were all about, you know, tanks rolling through Ukraine, I was like, we can't just do a tank game right now.
Well, and even Nintendo pulled the Advance Wars release when that happened, because they were like,
it by a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it was the right call.
Yeah. But man, what a journey the game has had. And yet, like, all the stuff that I like fell in love with day one when I first played it with you is still all in place. And I think you rightly said, you were talking a little bit ago about Anthony's kind of design aesthetic, you know, trying to take like very complex game systems and really distill it down into like the core expensive ones, right?
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit more about that, because I think that's really interesting. And I know that this was not the only time that Anthony did that, right?
No, I mean, Anthony, you know, Anthony was a huge Warhammer fan. And so, you know, but he wasn't a fan of the price tag. So he was always like, how do we, what he wanted to do was bring his love and all the things that he loved about wargaming and make it like reasonably priced. Like, he was also always trying to come up with ideas like to make his army cheaper. Like, he was always like, you know, trying to figure out how to like get people more involved in wargaming. I mean, partly because he wanted more people to wargame with.
Sure, everyone needs more friends to play with. So.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think actually Chris O'Neill commented on one of the posts about how the game was originally, because Chris wanted to make all these like small Atari games, and Anthony made like a tank that was like one card, and he was like, "What if you just like moved the card to be like the tank movement?" And then that turned into the tanks, which he made with like chipboard, and then we had like one day just gone through all of our like Panda sample kits and like what's sample kits. We opened them all up. We sorted them into like, you know, fishing tackle boxes. And then he used a bunch of that stuff to make the tanks. And also the bottoms were just furniture, things that go on the bottom of furniture so that furniture won't.
The furniture pads,
like the little fuzzy,
Yeah. So he made that. And then, you know, after Laser Riders, you know what? Before Laser Riders, it was like, oh, you need a board to have a board game. And then we made Laser Riders. We were like, you don't actually need to have a board to make a board game. So that was where that came from. It was sort of like, whatever. The table is your board. However big the table is. Like I remember we played once on a giant circular table that the middle there was no center. So it was just like it was like hollow. So we had to play and like get all the way around, and it was very fun.
Well, so, and I remember too, like, my first impression when I sat down to play was, oh my God, like this reminds me of the Atari 2600 tank battle game. Like, and I loved that game to death, as well as like the more advanced one that was like, you know, more, was it Battle Zone? I don't know. But in any case, like the fun of just like the tank battles and instant respawns and you know all of that, I just thought was so engaging. And I love, by the way, the other thing that I loved, and I think another, you know, big kind of credit to this design is, if you play, like, I always think of things like X-Wing, or I think of Wings of War, and they're all very templated systems. And so, but it's also very, like, I feel like all of those are very, like, finicky and very, like, people are so hyper precise.
There's zero room for fudge factor in that.
Yeah. And what I love about this is that not only is it, like, again, inexpensive, brilliant little, like, you know, the way the cards work, and the you know, you place the card down, you move the tank onto a portion of the card. It's very clear, it's very intuitive, and I think it makes the game more accessible. I think a broader group of people can sit down to play this game or quite honestly, like war game, like, war gamers who can't get people to sit down and play war games with them, they're going to be able to like have fun and enjoy this for what it is and still get the itch scratched for what they love about wargaming, right? So I think
I mean, I definitely like feel very privileged because I got to try a bunch of war games because of Anthony and his friends, because they already had like I got to play Battlefleet Gothic. That game is awesome. And I was like, this game's like crazy expensive and also like full of grognards, you know what I mean? And it is very like, one of the best lines on the campaign page is about fudge factor, because so many times when we play Laser Riders or Boom Patrol, people are like, well, what if somebody's not precise? And we're like, oh my God, who cares? Like, it's fine.
Yeah. We're pretty sure we always adopted the general rule of thumb. It's like, if you were close enough, you would want them to give it to you. So you're supposed to give it to them. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In
fact,
I
also want to add, Curt, I don't know if you remember this, but when we showed it to you at Metatopia, somebody was like, oh, why don't you show it to Curt? And we were like, oh, Curt, actually, yeah, Curt might like this. And we were like, hey, Curt, do you have like some time to see our tank game? And you were like, yeah, I have time at like midnight. And we were like, sweet, we'll be ready to party at midnight. And then like we sat down to play it, and you were like making tank noises, and we were like, oh my God, did we find the right? Are we doing it? Is it happening? Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. I can't help it. I can't.
It was great.
That's one of the things I absolutely love about it. And I see Jandi's out there watching, and Jandi knows, like, I think her love of this game comes from watching me do the tank noises and do. I freaking love it. It's amazing. So yes, yeah. And by the way, midnight. That's just when I.
I'm learning that. I'm learning those are rookie hours for sure. It's midnight.
I'll tell you, Josh and I are both. We are both just one more episode people, and we are both oops, it's 2 a.m. people, and together it is oops, it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, nobody is holding anybody accountable in that situation.
We call it Goblin Standard Time because those are the hours that we keep. So I thought that you would love that. I'm constantly that meme of the anime girl where she's in bed and she's like this, and it's like me trying to aggressively get 8 hours of sleep in 4 hours. So yeah, midnight is very, very normal time to be playing games, I think.
Indeed. Well, so weirdly enough, we got like prototypes of the game made so that we could share them with content people and they could get videos made and everything. And I didn't have enough. I didn't create one for me. I haven't actually seen the nice fancy version of the game.
No way.
Until like about 2 hours ago. Mark Streed sent his copy back to me so I'd have it for Gen Con. So for the first time, I've not even opened it. I have the actual box right here and everything. So
I love it.
Let's crack this open just a wee bit, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So it's actually a pretty sizable box. It's actually a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. All right, we got the rules. All right, so let's see if I can do this without tipping everything over. But so it's got a nice little divider in there, all the stuff all tucked in. We got the tank captains up there, and all the player boards, and of course the tanks right here. So
Anthony would be so excited.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I just all right, so the two little rulers. That's happy and good. All right, this is what I'm super excited about. Now, this is what you were talking about that you made originally out of just like stuff out of a printer's bin, but it is now like all officially official, and the turret is
so beautiful.
Yeah. So I love that we've got like actual treads on the bottom of the thing and everything. So the cardboard's pretty substantial. And one of the things that and we can we'll probably talk about this, as we move on too. But in the transition from where the game was to where the game is now, where things got, more into the animal kingdom, we pushed the boundaries into a little bit more video game territory, more like a Mario kind of kart feel. So these tanks, they've got little hints from the animal kingdom. We've had some fun with them, and so this has got mud and some almost like zebra stripes on it, that kind of thing.
It looks awesome.
This one is kind of amphibious. If you kind of look at it, these are almost like little fins. And this is a reference, oddball, to the character from Kelly's Hero, from where this whole thing kind of started. I put
That's awesome.
Yeah, I put just a little thing. So for those of you who don't know, Nicole, do you want to talk about Kelly's Heroes at all?
Sure. Yeah. So Anthony. So first of all, we made all the games that we've made so far have been like 80s themed, or like old 70s, 80s themes, old school themes, and it's not you won't be surprised to know that like Anthony was like, I want to make a game about Kelly's Heroes, and I was like, wait, what's Kelly's Heroes? And we watched the movie, and I was like, this is like the most niche thing I've ever heard anyone say they want to make a board game about. So yeah, so he it's just a movie. Is it World War II? It is World War II.
It is, yeah. So it's World War II, and they all these really, very colorful characters. American soldiers, and essentially there's this drunk German officer that gives them inside information about millions of dollars of gold hidden on enemy soil. And so it's Clint Eastwood, and it's
Donald Sutherland,
Telly Savalas, and they're all crazy. And they all like go AWOL to go get this gold, and
right. It's like the end of the war, and they're like, before we go home, let's just pop over and steal all this gold. Like like that's totally
And so that's why originally there was like go find gold in the game, and all the pieces looked very World War II, and honestly, we try to retain as much of that as we could, and still like lean harder into making this kind of the animal kingdom. And I think also, and I think this is something Gaeton, we did, fairly recent. We always wanted this to be an arena sport rather than like, wartime and worry about
wartime
buildings,
has
right?
had its time. It's been
right.
It's in
you
everything.
Want it to be more Mario Kart than Battlefront.
Exactly.
Battlefield.
Battlefield. So you're crushing a building and it's a power up. It could have been a box. It doesn't matter, right? But where were we driving, Gaeton?
We were, I think we were on our way back from. It could have been Games Day.
Oh, yeah, one of
ACD?
the trade shows, yeah,
trade show something.
And all of a sudden, Gaeton looks at me. He's like, "Hey, you know what? This would feel more like a sport?
Commentators,
Casters. Right?" And so we ended up spending like 3 hours just riffing as these two characters, laughing our butts off.
Oh yeah.
Like we actually we're just like
we couldn't even finish sentences. We were laughing before we could get to the punchlines of these casters doing their bits.
Hello and welcome to the Boobberg Arena.
I'm on my phone like Googling references to famous sportscasters to like try to put hidden gems in the names. Like it developed from nothing to good. Kind of like this missing link between what we envisioned for the game and what was being presented. Because like we said, war's been done a lot. Like admittedly, there's a lot of war games, but there's not any games that I know of that are about pseudo celebrities battling it out in tanks for gold and glory. Like so I was like, that's what I want.
Scully commentating, yeah.
Curt, I don't know if you remember when we first started talking about, changing the theme to animals, and you and I were going back and forth with like a bunch of punny animal names, and Anthony was like, God damn it. he was like rolling his eyes so hard, and Curt and I were laughing. Like, we were both like rolling laughing, and Anthony was like, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? And we were like, this is cool. What are you talking about? This is amazing.
Yep. And so and many of those, by the way,
and their names are punny, that is for sure.
Have absolutely come to pass. So Crash, Payday, Copycat. I mean, and by the way, so what's wonderful, I think, about where we've ended up is that we've got this amalgamation. We ended up when we needed more artwork, and we were going to go into this Animal Kingdom. I had worked with Leah Furman, who had done Cinder with us, and is just terrific illustrator. And I knew she'd be great for these animal characters. And so, we had started that, and then, like I said, we had to put everything on hold for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then when we came back to the project, it was like, well, so now we actually have a decision point to make. Like, where is this art really going to live? And there's something so charming and special about the artwork that Anthony did. And, I think it really comes to life just like on this card, like Fire Away. Like, it looks like a propaganda poster from wartime. And
absolutely.
It's charming, it's cute, but it's evocative. And we wanted to like maintain that vibe throughout the game. And quite honestly, and honor Anthony through that. So when I talked to Leah, I was like, listen, we have a lot of art to do. Some of them are animals, some are like making the tanks look more animal-like, making some of these other things, like how are we going to evolve things so it looks like more the Mario Kart thing. But we can't lose Anthony in the design. And so, and I think you noticed it right away when you saw the logo. You're like, oh my God, that texture, like that is Anthony. And
it looks like Anthony made it. It's wild.
Yeah.
She did an incredible job.
Yeah. So she was able to take a look at all the stuff that existed and really honor that and blend it. And I'm so excited by what we've done and honestly what we're like still doing, right? Because right now we just put up like a mega stretch goal.
The stretchiest goal.
Stretchiest goal. Yeah. Just like, we're just the little dribs and drabs, we just wanted to say, what, here is everything, like including like, the commentators and including really important things to me, like, oh, and this is a sample of them. They gave me a sample. Oh my God, that's great. Okay. So in the game, the corners of the board are marked out by rally points. And cardboard works perfectly serviceable. And that's generally what will be in the game unless we can do what I really want to do, which is do neoprene. Because the neoprene, like when it lands on the table, like it's not moving. It's like locked in and it's not going to get like nudged or anything. And like now the table is really marked out and they look gorgeous. Like it's the Boomberg. Oops. Oh, come on.
There you go.
Yeah. It's the Boomberg Battle Arena with all little critters in there. But I just really cool corners and neoprene, and I want to get that done.
When neoprene hits the table, it's like the sound of a duelist slapping another duelist with a glove. You know, it's on.
Well, and it fits in the box. Like, you know, I honestly, at one point I was like, well, maybe we should do like a big battle mat. Maybe people would want like a huge neoprene. But I was like, yeah, but the problem with that is you always then have to store the neoprene somewhere else. And if you're going to carry it to a friend's house, it's like, it makes it a chore. And
it also mandates exactly what size space you need with no flex.
Right.
Well, this is a game that has fudge factor. If you need to shrink or grow slightly with your table, this game lets you do that. Right.
In fact, we had a backer today who was like, "Hey, I'm a little concerned that my table won't be big enough." Like, and it's like, don't worry, man. You can just move those.
It all works,
you know, and it's gonna work out just fine for you.
Yeah.
Also, just play on the floor.
Well, sir, you could do that unless you're like me, and those days are gone.
If you play on the floor, that's where you live now. Yeah.
This is where you can find me. Now, Nicole, I think you may have noticed that we did end up adding one template to the game. Did you notice what I'm talking about?
Let me see.
The hold up token?
I did. It's awesome.
So
and crucial
because here's the thing. In the original game, like if you decided to do the hold up maneuver and you're just going to pivot your tank, it was a super simple system. You just take your tank, you'd put one finger on one corner and you'd rotate the other corner to it. You're like, hey, cool, 70-degree turn, nice job. But the difference is when you try to put that explanation into a rule book.
Yeah.
Do not get me started on writing rule books.
It was just going to be crazy. So I said, yeah, okay. In this one case, we will simply, you can go that far. There you go.
Beautiful. One of the first times I had like a full like, am I having a nervous breakdown moment was when we wrote the resistor rules, because it was like, it was my first time writing an instruction booklet for a board game, and I was just like, you know, I am a game player, so I guess yes, no offense to game players, but I'm just like, what's the dumbest person that we have to like how dumb? Because there were so many times that people would be like, where do I discard my card? And I would be like, on the table, wherever you want. You make a discard pile. And it's like, but you have to write that in the book. You have to be like, and then you make a discard pile. And that's where you put the cards that you don't want anymore. And I'm just like, why do we have to say this? But yeah, it's so wild.
Yeah. Well, so I learned this. Here's something that most people probably don't think about. There is an East Coast, West Coast technical writing bias, a difference. And the best rule books are written with both audiences in mind. What is the difference?
What is the difference?
What is
that? I don't
Oxford
know.
Comma?
Yeah. So East Coast, people want to know what happens when. Give me the order of things I need to do. West Coast people want to know why. Why am I doing this thing? And if you blend both things, then you actually reach more people and make your rules a little bit more understandable.
I wrote all of that down.
I would have never known that.
I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere on myself. That is like some of the best advice anyone's ever shared in this industry. And I've been in this industry for a while. Thank you. I love this. Thank you
covers
for
it all, I suppose.
Crazy. I see Bree's out there. Hey, Bree.
Yeah, I was looking
Melody's here too.
Focused.
Oh, yes.
Apparently.
What hat?
I don't
These
know.
are my ears.
That's just what I just
so casual.
So
Yeah. So people that are along the Rockies are just okay with whatever.
yeah, just people in the middle of the country, they want a little bit of both. They want both examples and order of operations. So yeah, very interesting. Well, so Nicole, how did the game develop from where you first started working on the game? What was the biggest leap forward?
Oh man. I mean, I think one of the things that I talk about when I like teach classes or when I talk about design on panels or anything like that is just I give an example from this game, which is Anthony was so focused on the gold and he was like, how do we make the gold fun? And so he kept trying to make it so that all the gameplay centered around the gold. How do we make people want to get the gold? How do we make the gold more important? And I was finally like, hey, there's something that's already super fun in this game. Why don't we make that the focus? Because this is a game. We're not making like, this isn't like, a piece of art. We're not trying to like prove a point. We're not like, this is like, at the end of the day, we're trying to make something fun.
Yeah.
So why don't we focus on that? And when we made the gold less of the focus, I think that's when the fun really started to sort of blossom in the game. And that's when the game really started to shine. And I think that's when you saw it and you were like, yeah, the gold is not the fun part. The fun part is we're freaking tanks.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right. So one of the things that I absolutely love in the rules was when you have permanent objects, whether they be tanks or buildings or the clock tower at the center, if you roll onto something and you're still touching it, then your turn, you have to keep going. And what's great about that is if you chain some of those together, like you get this wacky turn where your tank is just rolled across half of the board and you're like, where the hell am I going? Like, and it's hysterical. And I love it. And then you're like, you have to recover, Meanwhile, all kinds of crazy stuff just happened to your tank. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's like, oh no.
And that got even crazier with the variety of pickups and power-ups that are in the game now. So that same I rolled halfway across the map turn could look wildly different from player to player, depending on where those tiles landed.
Yeah.
And
so
I think
that's interesting, Gaeton, because I think that's where one of our biggest aha moments came from. One of the big design leaps that we took. In the original design, I would say a good 50% of the building tiles, when you revealed them, they were hazards. Something bad happened to you, or it forced you to kind of like roll off, and so what the net result of that was people were very tentative rolling their tanks into things. So there's a lot more shooting from a distance to reveal a thing. And then if it was good, like go chase after it. And
people were too timid. Yeah.
They were too timid. And I think that was adding a good hour to the game.
Like, I remember
it almost doubled the length of the game.
Our early tests that I played before I worked at Smirk and Dagger was that players only felt good about shooting other players and everything else seemed really apprehensive.
Yeah.
And I think now where it's landed, some players are worried about what they're going to hit, but I don't know if anybody is more worried about that than they are excited to see what they land on now.
Right, because now 90% of it is all like power-ups and fun things. And there's the occasional, oh no, which you still need, right?
You can't, it can't always be perfect.
Yeah.
And
another major thing that,
you're good. That was my last thing. You're good.
I was just gonna say another major thing that you guys fixed was how do you get the power-ups? Because before we had a really hard time figuring out, like, does everybody start with power-ups? Do you get power-ups? Like, do they get like dropped onto the map? We went through a bunch of iterations of, because we knew that we wanted to have power-ups, but it was just how do we get them to the players and when can they play them? Johnny wants to see my kitty. Here you go.
Oh, there we go. Hi, kitty.
She's like, I was sleeping. Her name is Egg.
I think Gaeton's got more kitties coming.
Yeah. Yes.
This is Spoons.
This is my girl cat Egg, and Hash Brown is somewhere else.
Okay. This is the only way I can join this party.
Well, how about that? That's a pretty cool cat.
So
you're right. Curt is a cool cat.
Yeah. So come see us at Gen Con. That's all I'm saying.
You want to go back and sleep in the chair?
Yeah.
Gaeton, what's your cat's name?
Spoons.
Spoons.
Oh, yeah.
As in, I ain't got no more.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how she makes us feel. Yeah, no, she's super cool. My fiance's sister found her kind of wandering farmland, Pennsylvania, as a kitten, and you know, Steph was like, "I really want to take this cat," and I was like, "Well, I don't know if I want a cat," and so we met in the middle and got the cat. Now this cat's awesome, and I love this cat.
We want to get a dog once we stop traveling so much, and I said if it's a mutt, I want to name it Scrapple, and if it's not a mutt, I want to name it Waffles.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
Obviously, the personality of the dog will also dictate what the name will be, but those are the names that I threw in the ring.
That's super
cute.
It's
time to go back to bed.
All right. By the way, guys, I glanced over and I saw one more piece that I Nicole, you haven't seen this. Well, you've seen like the picture of it that I put on the page, but this is like the wood tank.
Oh, that's right. You know, I actually haven't seen the wood tank in person yet, so it's new for me too.
And quite honestly, this is not quite as thick as it will be in final. It's going to get a little chunkier. But I think what's nice. There was a quandary. Like at one point, I was like, you know, would this game like do better if the deluxe? Should we do like molded chibi tanks, like plastic tanks? And I was like, I mean, that'd be cool. And we could put like little tank captains, maybe plug them in. But I was like, but you know what? It feels like that game has existed. Yeah. And it loses the charm of what Anthony created with this, right?
Yep.
It just, because that's kind of the when people see this on the table, they're like, that looks unique and fun and different. And I want to touch it and I want to play with it. And so, but on the other hand, I was like, you know, if there was a way to make these even a little chunkier, add some more height to them so that they like pull off the table a little bit more, then I was like, maybe I can like recreate what this is in just a little bit more dimensional space. And so I think this is I think kind of a fun thing. So what's going to happen is these will get like full painted, like so it'll be like a full yellow tank. And then they'll come back and they are going to heat transfer screen it. Oh. So it'll be full color on the wood.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Boop kitties are. And
that's awesome.
So those are pretty darn cool. Oh, and Dom says those look so clear gameplay wise too. Yes. And what I also love is because of the treads. And by the way, I love that Anthony did put the tread layer on the original prototype. Now, originally, I know it was because like that rivet, you don't want it to pivot on the rivet, and that's why.
That's my rap album.
Yeah, pivot on the rivet.
Don't want to pivot on the rivet.
But the benefit of that, though, is like, yeah, it's like it sits just above the table because the treads are a little bit smaller than the body of the tank. And so that means when you put the cards down as like the guides for this thing, they sit naturally, like kind of like above everything now and slide across and with the tiles too. So I think it's going to be pretty neat. I'm very excited about this game, Nicole.
I am very excited too, Curt. And one of the like coolest and strangest moments was when you and I had a meeting and you were like, oh, like I think I want to add this and I think I want to add that, and can you find these files? And like I found Anthony's files and they had all the things that you wanted, and
Yes!
we were like, how did he do that? How did he know? Like he answered like every question we had, and we were like, oh, he already solved these problems. Like how did he know? It felt, I cried because I was like, this is so cool. There was another thing I was saying too. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about Anthony earlier today, and one of the things I missed the most about him was that at playtesting, I don't know if you've ever seen him do this, Curt, but at playtesting, you know, we'd be at Metatopia or we'd be at Unpub, and we'd be doing feedback, and everybody would be giving feedback to the creator, and Anthony would just be drawing. He would just be drawing on a napkin or a piece of paper, and then once feedback was over and everybody was packing up to leave, he would go to the creator, he would be like, this is how you fix your card problem. You just have this here, you have this here, you have this part here. And I was like, how did you do that? Like, how do you know like how to solve, like he just like, he was so good at solving visual problems that it was it blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, great designer, great graphic artist, illustrator. So yeah. Anyway, I'm over the moon. I really hope that people are going to kind of get behind and give this campaign a big push in the last 3 days. It's such a worthy design. It's like, this is not like the game that, you know, it's just plain fun. Like, you know, it puts the fun back into gaming. I'm sorry. Like, you know, it's cool to have like elegant games and have like, you know, complicated math underpinning everything that makes it just like, that's cool. And I love that. But this is just a blast to play. And so, yeah, I'm just as excited as I was when I first saw it years ago, maybe even more so now. So, yeah. Well, so we were just talking about cats a moment ago.
My cat left me.
Okay.
Mine too.
May I share something with you?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Just us, just me and Gaeton.
No.
Everybody else plug your ears.
Yeah.
Earmuffs, everybody, earmuffs.
Okay. Because for a long time, I told you know, people in the industry, listen, don't even pitch me to Target because I didn't have the right games and everything. And I'm going to start talking about Boop here in a second, right? Because I finally got a placement at Target, and yep, it was kind of a back and forth conversation, and pricing was involved, and no, I wasn't going to sacrifice quality or anything else, but we were able to finally figure it out. And so this week, it is being put on shelves of 500 test stores. And depending on how well it does, full chain or not. So I am creating an advertising campaign specifically for this. And I'm going to share one of the concepts. We've got 5 different ads that are going out.
Does it happen to be the one that I really want it to be?
Of course it is. Come on.
Yes.
Because this was the nutty idea that I scripted, and I went to Onira Studios, who helps me with all my videos, and I was like, listen, this, I don't know if we can actually achieve this. Here's my vision. And he's like, oh, let me get started. I can't wait for this. So here is Boop ad number 1. This is the world premiere, folks. And the 9 people watching, God bless you. Here it's for you. All right, here we go. Is it going to work?
Boy, I sure hope so.
That was amazing.
It's just
Oh my
adorable.
goodness.
I just am so jazzed by that. Like,
That was incredible.
oh no, there is. Okay.
That's still as good as it was when I saw it a week ago.
I just I was so delighted. I was like, yeah, I mean, like it would start from low and come up, and we'd start hearing the music, and it gets lighter as we go, and it's like, and you're gonna want to do some kind of like that leg in the sky thing. It's like, of course, it's got to be like the kitty like rolling down. It's like, forget it. It's gonna be amazing. Okay, I'm in. So
I'm in. Sold. That's so good. Congratulations, Curt. This is so awesome.
Yeah. So we should have fun. We were talking earlier too about GenCon. I did promise people we would at least showcase a couple things that we've got like coming for GenCon. So yeah, without further ado, let me bust out some others.
Without further ado.
Oh, so cute. Actually, well, all right, so we'll do that. We were just talking about Boop. Let's talk about Dun, 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 dun,
Are you gonna have those hats? Come on.
Well, are we gonna have what cats?
The hats. The hat on your head. Are you already selling those?
What hats?
What hat?
I might potentially have access to hats.
Well, it might be a catastrophe if you don't provide those hats to
correct.
the public.
It'll not be a catastrophe if I don't. But yes, so Boop the Halls is absolutely here. We are flying in 2 pallets. And quite honestly, we flew in like 7 or 8 pallets of games for Gen Con because like it was never going to make it in time for most stuff. So at great expense, but we had to have them here. So and actually the weird thing is like the rest of the shipment, it's gonna be only weeks behind it.
But those weeks mattered.
Weeks mattered. So we got to fly it in. So yes, Boop the Halls. So the interesting thing, as you can see, is that Boop the Halls is actually a very different version of the game. Spooky Boop was really just kind of the ghost cats. It was like a slight twist to gameplay. This whole scale changes the game. So now you can win naughty by knocking your opponent's ornaments out of the tree. Or you can win nice by lining up 3 cats in a row. And that alone makes a huge difference to strategy. You're not thinking about trying to defend your ornaments, knock them out of the tree before they do. Like, everything changes. Plus, the shape of the board is not just higher, it's a different shaped board. It's like roughly circular, and that changes all the angles. And while the height shouldn't matter at all, your brain doesn't know that. So it will miss the fact that like 3 in a row can go over a hump and you might just miss it. So it's very...
This is rude. This is rude.
Yeah. So that is going to be exciting. I already got a message from GenCon saying, hey, Curt, listen, we had a little staff meeting and social media is already like starting to talk about what door they need to enter to get to your booth quicker. So we think there's going to be some crowd control. It's not a problem, but we're probably going to have to send some people over. It's like, yep, okay, gotcha. And honestly, I believe it because last year was the first time ever in 20 years that I had ever had a rush on my booth. I've always seen it. Down the hall at someone else's booth for their great game.
You've heard it. Yeah.
Right. Never. And it was terrifying. Like literally terrifying because I got to tell you, like seeing this mad rush of people like coming for your booth. Oh my God. And my team is like the best. In seconds. They like without anyone directing them, they just all chose a job And in 30 seconds, we were ready for crowd control, and we were ringing every 30 seconds. We looked at the data. Every 30 seconds, there was a new sale. Melody was up at the counter, and she would just reach back. A bag was handed to her, already filled, put it forward, doop, doop, doop. There you go. Crazy. Anyway.
That's incredible.
So, yeah.
I think places like Gen Con and, I think places like that really need to hire like 17, 18-year-old lifeguards, because nobody is more scared of a teenager with a whistle. Like, we all grew up with that life. And so I think that would be the best way to get everybody under control. Somebody blowing a whistle and yelling, walk! Like,
yeah.
Yes,
do the whole thing. Give them the air traffic control cones too. Like, cue them up.
Oh, I see Michelle's out there too. Hey, Michelle. All right. So we've got some other stuff brand new also launching at the show. Quite honestly, this one is actually in more limited numbers than Boop the Halls. We simply couldn't get more than one pallet. So so that's what we've got. And Hi-Fi is a stunner to look at. It's just graphically pleasing on the cover, and there is a gloss on that record.
And the game is also super fun, like disgusting.
Like look, like that. Just it looks like a record when you see it on the shelf. It's
it is quite possibly one of the most like impressive renditions of a theme being applied artistically that I've seen.
Yeah.
Basically ever, I will say.
You nailed it. Yeah.
I can't even take credit for it. I wish I could. So this is from Grok Games in Brazil. And this is their brainchild. Quite honestly, we fell in love with the look and feel of the game.
Oh yeah.
And when you get into the nitty gritty, you crack open the rule book, like the theme goes deep and it's great.
Do you got the rule book there, Curt?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, just this is the game, right?
It's ridiculous. This is illegal.
Yeah. So the record player is the box with a cardboard insert, and that vinyl rotates. That's your action selector for the game. And then it's all about creating music tracks in the studio. So you're laying down, music track cards, and you're adding equalizer knobs, and you're potting up, your production points. Like, this is just killer. And it's a great strategy game. It's a tactical game, right? Because people can actually remix the tracks you're trying to build, because you're trying to get a sequence for maximum points. And every once in a while, not to mess with you, just because they need it to look different, they're going to all of a sudden swap and remix cards around. You're like, yeah, I should have cashed in last turn. Damn it. So, but just an amazing look. And it really, it all goes to Grok. Honestly, what we did is we made it just a little bit more approachable. They had a really, it was a brain burner. And we're like, boy, my uncle Fred has to be able to play this game right out of the box. And right now, there's no way. So we worked with them to actually create the first time play, maybe first 2-3 time plays.
Yeah, basically your entry level mode for the game.
Yeah,
I think what we
do you actually have an Uncle Fred? I just need to know for my.
I do not.
Oh,
sorry.
Not canon.
Way to suspend the disbelief.
Yeah, I do.
I think what we established, really, Curt, if I recall, was we said everybody is going to want what this game looks like and presents. It's so appealing, but because of that, everybody needs to be able to play this game.
Right.
And so land at an earlier level.
Yeah, we went back to him with a list of suggestions. Said, listen, we'd love to do this game, but in our marketplace, it's gonna have to have training wheels. And they're like, whoa, you are right. And normally we do that, and we didn't. So thank you. And they came back with
I even remember at the beginning your email was like, I'm sorry if this is like a whole lot of feedback very early on, but
right. And I don't want to insult you. I'm just going to print it in English. I know.
You said print this,
I love
and
the
I said, well,
reactions
here's
in
a
the
note.
comments right now too.
Yeah.
Dom's like, whoa, double whoa.
This is the rule book. It's a little amalgam, but it looks like the cover of Rolling Stone. It's called Ruling Book. And it's about the Meeples, the hottest band from the 70s. They broke up before they completed this pivotal album, and now 50 years later they're back together. And so you are doing the B-side of this astounding album, and it's got to be great. But the attention to detail at the back of this rule book, they actually have an interview with the band just for flavor.
It's like, that's my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
It really feels like you're reading an article right out of a magazine.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're also gonna have probably an equal rush on this game.
Yep.
Day one. So but fear not for people who miss out, because all these games are going to actually be here like few weeks after Gen Con. So you'll be able to just order them on our site or at your local retailer or wherever. So it's gonna be fine. But man, I think it's gonna be a race at the beginning of Gen Con. All right, let's see. So now the other thing is that for people who did not go to Origins or hear a lot about what happened at Origins,
one or two more things to talk about.
So let's talk about
something about two people makes half the work didn't really hold up so well this year.
It just got to be more of the stuff. So
I'm so proud of this little game.
Okay, so this is from Ivan Turner, and this is, man, it's like the movie Alien in 10 minutes. Like, it is a party weight horror survival game, and it's just brilliant. People die left and right in hysterical ways. And like literally what's happening is like you get these cards, 2 cards every turn, and you can play your card either as a location. So I could play this card, I could flip it upside down as an airlock, and that's where I am, or I can play it as the ability and do that thing. But either way, I'm playing both cards, one as where I am and the other is what I'm doing. And then we're going to find out like where the alien is. It's one of these little location cards. And if the alien shows up where you are, you're probably dead. But maybe I said, oh, you know what? I think the alien is going to show up in the airlock. So I am going to blow the airlock into space. And if I'm right, alien is dead. We all win. Everyone who's still alive wins. Oh, Gaeton. Oh, you were in the airlock? Oh, dude, you should not have been in there, man.
Yeah, this
Rest
game,
in peace.
my favorite part of this game, and why I've loved playing this at Origins, this was so much fun to demo at Origins. The tables were full constantly. Is that this game is as cooperative as your friends want it to be. It is fully up to you. If you guys are the group that loves to kind of like, stab your friend in the back a little bit, this game gives you every tool you need for that. And if you all want to team up and fight for the greater cause, this game can do that for you too. It just, I mean,
you're still going to die.
Yeah, but like maybe a little bit less.
You're going to feel a little less bad about it.
Yeah. So I just love that about it. It really does fit most groups.
And honestly, I think one of the things that really went crazy with this game is that board of the ship. That's a neoprene mat. And it rolls into this tiny little box. It's part of the game. It's all inside the box, and it's $15.
Stop it.
That's what I said. It's like crazy. I put on that crazy ass box and the turntable, and
I felt bad. I wanted to demo this game more at Origins, but most of the people bought it without me showing them. They're just so excited about neoprene for 15.
That's your rap album.
Neoprene for 15.
Oh, that's good. I like that. You should get a shirt with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Just have the alien in profile
I was
neoprene
gonna
for
say
15.
just the alien,
Yeah.
All right. And then I think most people have heard about this game for a while because, quite honestly, we did the Kickstarter last year. We've been talking about it a lot. It was part of Free RPG Day that year, but it's finally here. And we have plenty of stuff for Adventure Party at Gen Con. So if you have not heard about it, though, like, it's weird. It's a role-playing party game, and it's a guessing game, which makes no sense. But like literally, what you're doing is, well, let me get me over to the page here. Okay. Like the GM is going to read the adventure hook. Oh, the dragons are going to attack you. What do you do? Well, what you do is, I'm the rogue, and I'm going to describe to you like my plan with one of my magic items, like the hammer of smashiness. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with it against the dragon. There's my grand plan. But now I'm going to roll the D20 behind my private screen so no one else can see it. And then, based on how well or poorly I rolled, I'm now going to tell you what actually happens to me, with enough detail that the GM, the guest master, can tell me what I rolled as close as possible, which is brilliant. Like, so, like, I can't believe that no one came up with this before Travis and David did. Like, it's just such an intuitive idea that just, like, it's so much fun. It's all the best things about role playing with none of the encumbrances. Like, you can learn it in 2 minutes. There's no like tomes this thick you have to go through.
No crunchy math.
You can just go in and have a good time. And like, rolling a 1 is hysterical. Rolling a 20 is heroic. And everything in between is, how do I tell the difference? How do I describe the difference between a 13 and a 14? It's magic. I just love it. So, and it's not like all battling, like, sometimes you're doing bar bets in the bar, or, it's a riddle room and you're trying to get to the other side, or it's the spider queen, you have to get to her lair. It's like, there's so much going on. And then we even have an expansion. Let me show you that. Because we're like, well, this game is all about adventures. So let's give people more adventures. And who better to do that than like people who literally do this nonstop? So we reached out to like some of the hottest people in RPGs, D&D, all of that, and did a signature series. So we're talking about Luke Gygax. We're talking about Todd Stashwick, Elisa Teague, so like Tommy Gofton, Vince Casso, Devin Wilson. Like there's so many people who got involved and wrote the adventures for this. And one, it was cool to work with them, and two, they came up with some really fun scenarios. So that's great. We've got like these amazing dice that we got from Gatekeeper Games and Dice. And so, by the way, John Rott he is also in his final 48 hours of his own campaign. And I have a signature die. I'm a special dice designer. The Smirk and Dagger die is it's a black die with gold fleck. And it just kind of looks like, kind of murky, mysterious. Should be pretty cool.
What's that campaign called?
What is it called? Oh, damn it. It's like mystery. I think it's called Mystery Dice.
Mystery Dice.
All right. I'm going to have to put a link here in the thing.
I'm just taking so many notes.
Yeah. I'll be sure to put the link below. But in any case, so that I've got, I just want to mention that because, we got ample supplies of these custom dice. By the way, these dice, like, they're character class dice. So like the 20 side is this little icon that goes with the character class. So there's the Barbarian's battle axe on that D20. and they all represent the 20-sided thing has their particular icon on them. So
12-year-old me would have lost my mind at that many D20s in that packaging. I would have just been like drooling.
Yeah.
Like 12-year-old, I would have been like, I can have how many D20s?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll also have these little mimics, because when you roll the dice, like you want to keep them quiet, like, and hidden. So sometimes if you're sitting in too close to proximity, the little shield isn't even enough. You just go bloop, and then now it's hidden.
So cute.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. So we'll have some of those as well. And yes, Jandi. So it is a Smirk and Daggery mystery die done by Gatekeeper. Yes. I originally was like, well, can we put like a dagger on the 20? And all of them have to be actual numerals, so we didn't get that. But I think the die itself is still going to be pretty sweet, and it's all just like mystery and weird dice. So yeah, and a lot of different people, like, gaming celebs came in and created specialty dice for it. So
wow, I think I found it. I'll put it in the...
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was ill prepared, so thank you for posting that.
Oh no, this comment has failed to post to Smirk and Daggers. You probably can't post links in here.
Oh yeah, probably for just safety.
Jandi, she's back. She's returned to watch some late night TV.
Indeed. So now you're going to Gen Con as well, are you not?
Me?
Nicole?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'll be there.
Now, you're going for funsies? You're going to work? What are you doing?
I don't do anything for fun anymore, Curt.
I know.
I'm just kidding. That sounded so dark. I'm going with Kickstarter. We are not going to have a booth, but we are going to be taking meetings. So I've got a bunch of meetings planned. I'm going to be going to some events at night. I don't usually like sometimes I go to events, sometimes I don't. Sometimes people are like, aren't you going to this? And I feel like I'm in high school and I didn't get invited to somebody's birthday party. And I'm like, I didn't know about that. Can you send me the Eventbrite? But yeah, I'm trying not to be pessimistic. I do enjoy Gen Con. I do have a good time. I just just got back from a road trip and I'm tired.
Yeah. Yep, I hear you.
I heard we're going. We're going to Gen Con.
I heard we're going, yeah. So so sadly, here's who's not coming to Gen Con.
Yes.
Oh no.
So it's with a heavy heart. Like we will have base games. And a lot of people we've been out of base games for a long time, and people are clamoring for them. But we were hoping that we were going to have all the Kickstarters fulfilled by now. We thought that we were going to have the expansions in hand, and we just lost time from port to port and everything else. So it's they'll probably get to our warehouse during Gen Con, but we won't have them. But if any backers are watching, know that they are here. They are arriving any day. But in any case,
my webcam's having an issue.
Yeah,
I'm still here. I will still
Gaeton?
talk, but I don't know what's going on with my camera. So continue telling cool stories about our stuff. I'm still here.
Okay.
I promise.
But yeah, so there's just so much going on. I can't even, and we can't even breathe, because we just found out that we actually have to get our games done sooner, because we're starting to be part of like bigger chain stores now, and they need things a year out, and we don't have that schedule. So we now have to make up a lot of time and jump ahead. So
yeah, post Gen Con is very much going to be just doing in all of next year in like 3 months.
Yeah. So So no rest for the wicked. That's the answer here.
My dream for Gen Con this year is that I get to play a game.
What do you get to play?
I don't know. I just want to play a game.
You can play a game.
I want to play that Alien game now. What was it called? This game is killer. I want
Yeah.
to play that.
So the good news is that's a game you can play in 10 minutes. Come over and we'll play it with you.
I mean, I might just walk up and you guys try to show it to me, and I just slap $15 on the table and just say, "Give me my name free for 15."
It's working.
It's working.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being here and sharing all the great stories. And
thanks for having me. This was
I
delightful.
love you. I just love hanging out with you, quite honestly. So
I know it's great. It's so great.
And
you're
and
kind of
Gaeton?
the best. Gaeton is great. I haven't seen Gaeton since we were all princesses together at Unpub.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's true. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. And of course, now we can't see Gaeton at all. But
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
My beautiful princess, gone forever.
At least it was at like now and not 2 minutes in and still not fixed.
That is true. I'm glad about that also.
Now we want to be able to see your cat and also your face.
Yep. And thank you to everyone who was watching, Dom and Jondi and everyone else. Little big thumbs. There we go. little big thumbs. Do I know Little Big Thumbs? I feel like I know that handle, and I'm trying to put it together with the who. Anyway.
Honestly, Dom is my friend, and he makes games, and he is an illustrator, and his art is so good. You should Google Dom 2D if you want to just. Oh, his art is so cute and magical and beautiful. And he recently did art for a board game that I can't remember the name of. Dom, what's the name of your the board
Dom,
game with the
I
bomb?
think I actually have seen your work. I think you must be on my Facebook because I think I've seen postings from you. So yes, very nice.
Yeah, everybody should follow Dom. He's amazing. Yeah. Bomb Busters.
Bomb Busters.
It came out at an event, I think in France, or was it at UK Games Expo? The art is out of this world. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
Cool. All right. Well, again, everyone, thanks so much for joining us. If you're out there and you haven't hit pledge on Boom Patrol, go ahead and do it. You're gonna have a good time. Trust me. Anyway, thanks again, and hugs to everyone. Bye, everybody.
Yes, bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Oh, I have to still hit the. I have to double.